Yo, it's DeagleBeagle, and today we're gonna be. Oh, I can't stream it. Don't have it set up, but today we're gonna be going over Landorus-Incarnate, and Jamie Boyd already covered this Pokemon. I'm gonna cover it in a similar but also different way. So, Life Orb is gonna be the most common item with it. Sorry, this is not supposed to be Sand Force. It's supposed to be Sure Force. It looks similar, and it's annoying that Sand Force is default on it. So make sure, unless you're trying to use it with sand, even if you use it with sand though, I don't know, Sheer Force is just a really good ability. So Life Orb, because sand might not always be up or might be changed. So I would probably use Sheer Force with it and not Sand Force. And it does not have a good flying move. Terra Blast is really the main way to give it a good flying move, especially that's like the only way to give it, I believe, a special flying move, because it has fly, but that's a 2-turn move that can miss, and it's a physical attack, and they're just going to protect on the second turn. It's just you don't want to use fly. It used to be used with like whatever it's called, Dynamax moves or Z move, whatever, but it's not used like that. You can't use it like that now. And Terra Blast, by the way, in theory, you would think, oh, I could just use Terra Blast with it, but no, because you most likely will have to Terra with another Pokemon, and you don't normally want to have to Terra just to use an offensive Terra. It's not really that much of a defensive Terra because it's a stab move. It's a stab, basically, flying. So a lot of the things that are going to super affect it will continue to super affect it. And yes, you could do more damage with Terra Blast flying, but typically with Landorus-Incarnate, you're supposed to be just spamming Sandsear Storm anyways. If you don't have Landorus set up to spam Sandsear Storm, then you're probably using it wrong. Okay? That's just the reality of it. Because if you have to use Terra Blast all the time, that's just not a good Pokemon because it's a Terra Hog and etc. But I've used this in practice. I used it with a Gravity team. That's one thing Jamie Boyd, he makes good videos. I'm not trying to really disrespect him, but I did leave a comment that said basically that he needed to be more open-minded. Because he didn't include the wide lens set or the fact that you could use it with gravity. And he's like, you should only use it on a rain team if you use Sandsteer Storm. And I don't agree with that because, like I said, you can use wide lens or gravity, but he either didn't think of that or still disagrees that you should use that, whether you should use one of those. But I'd argue in practice, gravity is actually pretty good. The main flaw with my gravity team was that I used too many inaccurate Pokemon that relied on gravity, like a whole team full of inaccurate moves. If I just had like Landorus-Incarnate, I had Sandy Shocks and a Spathra, then I would have been fine. But I was wanting to use all these other inaccurate moves too, like Blizzard Bundle without Abomasnow, and a few others that I'm blanking on right now. Because those are, oh yeah, Tornadus and stuff. So it's like, yeah, he was saying to basically use Earth Power with it instead, and there's nothing wrong with Earth Power. Earth Power is fine. But Sandsear Storm has a lot more potential But as far as consistency goes, you not having to have gravity set up is a bonus. Even though gravity also helps it because it's a ground attacker. So Pokemon like Thundurus, Moltres, etc., that otherwise you wouldn't super affect with the ground move, now all of a sudden you do. So it used to be immune, but if you use gravity, then now you're gonna hit them. And Landorus was actually really good in gravity, even though there are a lot of Terra Grass Pokemon and some Pokemon that do resist ground though, but it still overall was pretty good. Even to force the Terra on a Heat Ran or whatever, and then take it out with something that super affects grass. So, anyways, the second way to use Landorus, there's many ways, but because it's a decent tiered Pokemon. But before I get into that, I need to explain something. So I was using like Calm Mind and Nasty Plot, but I almost never used it because I didn't really have time to. And even when I had time to, it just like 2 Sandsear Storms is like the same as a Nasty Plot and then a Sandsear Storm. It's like normally I wouldn't even set up Nasty Plot because I may not survive long enough for it to be worth it. And what if they protect it last turn? Then I might want to capitalize on that by trying to finish them off. So I'm just a hyper offense person, and Nasty Plot makes more sense on a Pokemon like Goldango that's a little bit bulkier and has good resistances. But you can't really say that necessarily for Landorus-Incarnate. So I don't think Calm Mind or Nasty Plot should be the default set. I think the default set should include Sludge Bomb. Here's why: because so commonly you'll run into something like a Heat Ran or something that's ground weak, and they use Terra Grass, and basically Sludge Bomb will now super affect Heat Ran that Terra Grasses. And it also gives you another decent move besides Terra Blast. At least Terra Blast is 80 power, but doesn't super affect anything. It's a little less powerful than Sludge Bomb. It doesn't poison anything. It doesn't super affect anything. So chances are you would almost never use it unless you use your unless you Terra Stall with it. And another set you could try, by the way, since Landorus doesn't really get good like Power Gem. I don't think it gets Power Gem. Smackdown, by the way, is another option over Rock Slide, because you could smack him down and use Sandsear Storm. But anyways, yeah, you probably would want to use this one with Gravity. You would want to use Landorus in general with Gravity or Wide Lens or Rain. Because you probably want to take advantage of Sandsear Storm, but it can be pretty good with just the Earth Power standalone one too. Nothing wrong with that at all. So the main Terras you would probably want with it are either a Stab Terra like Flying. I guess you could use Ground, but then you wouldn't use Terra Blast with it. I wouldn't use Ground personally. It has enough offense, and you probably would want a defensive Terra or the Flying Terra. So one of the best defensive Terras would be Water, because this thing is weak to Water, Ice, not Rock, not Electric. So I think, yeah, just Water and Ice. Ice 4 times. So Water resists both of those. So Water is probably the best because because it's also a good complement to its typing, because if they try to use an electric move on you, well, if you don't Terra Stall, then it won't work. So then they have to guess at whether you're gonna Terra or not in some cases. By the way, you may be wondering why Rock Slide. Well, yeah, like I was saying, it doesn't get a lot of good rock moves, and it has actually still good attack. It has actually higher attack than special attack. So you could actually make it mixed. So if you're gonna make it mixed, either give it like hasty or what was that other ability? That naive, that lower special defense, whatever you prefer. But I think I personally would lower defense, even though normally, well, maybe not. Normally if I have to pick at lowering defense or lowering special defense, I lower special defense because of priority moves. So you would have to calculate how much like an extreme speed does and whatnot. So it's up to you, but either one of those is fine. Even an attack lowering ability, but I probably wouldn't because you're going to use Rock Slide a lot. There's lots of Pokemon that are weak to Rock Slide in Regulation D, even Regulation C. But in Regulation D especially, there's Thundurus, there's Tornadus, Moltres, just lots of Pokemon that you can Rock Slide. And you'll Rock Slide a lot because they're immune to your ground move. Okay? And you might want to get flinches, and Wide Lands helps Rock Slide and Sandsear Storm. So you have like a 0.99 times 30 is almost a 30% chance to flinch them, a specific target with it, or it's about slightly higher than 50% chance to flinch one of the two if you outspeed both of them mathematically. And yeah, I think I covered pretty much all of them. I don't think I would use Sand Force almost ever, even on a sand team, unless you really want the secondary effects. But like, those are only a small chance of happening, and some of them, I guess this actually, I don't think this would get the sheer force boost. So in that case, if you're trying to use Terra Blast, wait a minute. Never mind. Sand Force wouldn't boost it either, because it's not a ground, rock, or steel move. Yeah, that's for sure really bad. I got it confused. I was thinking in sand it would have just 30% more attack in general. I don't know what I was thinking, but that's wrong. It's specific moves in sand. So Sand Force, I wish they would buff it to what I was saying. It's like if sand is up, it increases your power by like 30% in general without having to use one of these three types. Okay, so overall this Pokemon, I would say it's hard to rate it. It's probably not top tier, because I mean it is really powerful and stuff, but the fact that you have to Terra to use like Terra Blast and Sandsear Storm relying on some way to increase its accuracy, so either Wide Lens or Rain or Gravity or something. I'd say this Pokemon is like high tier, but not top tier. I forget if Jamie Boyd labeled it like S tier or whatever, but I don't agree with that, in practice or even in theory. Okay, thanks for watching.